Studies have shown that there is a very high risk of developing mental illness such as depression in those that have chronic conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, cancer, and many more. One cancer survivor said, inasmuch as the fight against cancer is physical, it's much more also a mental battle. It is not very common to find cancer and healing in the same sentence. However, today we have a cancer survivor who is going to take us through his experience, even as we discuss mental health during and after battling cancer. My name is Rachel Maweza, also known as Raweza. Victor, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Rachel, for inviting me.
You're welcome. Somebody is watching and they want to know who is Victor.
In brief, Victor is a cancer survivor. The type of cancer that I had was multiple myeloma. So this is the cancer that affects the white blood cells. It
Right.
literally affects the plasma cells, which are responsible for clot in the body. So that's the type of cancer that I had.
Oh,
Yes.
I see. And so um, it is so humbling actually to have you here. I
Thank
must
you.
mention that.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's so humbling. Well, you are a cancer survivor. You are a warrior, which I take as a very big thing, and I see so much strength in that alone. Um, what do you do as Victor?
So apparently, I'm a certified pharmacist, and I work at Cancer Disease Hospital.
Wow,
Yes.
he works at Cancer Diseases Hospital.
Yes.
And so, Victor, would just like you to take us back to the time when you were diagnosed with cancer. How and when did you learn that you had cancer?
So what actually happened was in 2018, I just had severe lower back pain, and then the diagnosis which came was lambogia, which is an indication that you have something happening in the lower back. So after a multiple tests that were done, that was at Hilltop. I would patronize that hospital for quite some time, and then they decided to send some tests to South Africa. And the tests came back, and the results were indicating that I had a type uh, had a dreadful disease called cancer. In nature, that was multiple myeloma. Wow, that the diagnosis actually came on the 10th of October 2018, and that was the beginning of my serious battle.
I see.
Yes.
So, at that point, when you were told that Victor, you have cancer, I know that in the health field, we say it as it is. If you have hypertension, they'll tell you you have hypertension. If you have heart failure, they'll tell you you have heart failure. And if the illness you have is curable, and whether it is curable or not, you will be told and you will know. So, Victor, at that point, when the news was brought to you to say, Victor, you have cancer, how was it for you? How did you receive it?
Okay, so I remember very well. That was in the night when the doctor actually was passing through. I actually meet the doctor every day at CDH. So he came through to Hilltop Hospital in the night, and he looked at the charts, and he was like, you have cancer and you're supposed to be referred to Cancer Disease Hospital. That was the first time I heard that, and I was in my final year of pharmacy. That was fifth year, and I understood what cancer was. So literally, I knew what I was getting into, but I didn't know if I was gonna come out of it. Trust me, and that was the beginning of my depression,
Wow.
because I kept asking myself, how come? Where? What did I do wrong? Where is it coming from? What type of a cancer is this? Am I going to be cured? So there were a lot of questions that lingered on my mind.
So, how did it impact you mentally in terms of on your own as well as the people around? Because I believe such news can be very devastating.
I was very devastated. I was devastated, and I never wanted people close to me. I just wanted to be alone.
I see.
And I constantly used to ask myself, how come? And I remember one time when my friends actually came to visit me at Cancer Disease Hospital when I was moved from Hilltop. I think that was on the 29th of December 2019 when I was moved to Cancer Disease Hospital. My friends came to see me. They were coming from graduation. So you can imagine
Wow.
the stress and the agony that I was going through. It
You're
wasn't
seeing
easy.
your friends you were in the
Yes,
same
yes,
class with, they have graduated, and
yes.
there you are.
I
How
was
did you react?
I was I used to cry like a baby.
I can understand.
I used to cry like a baby, and I never
Mm,
wanted people close to me. That's one thing I remember vividly. And I was very irritable most of the times
I
because
see.
I had a lot of questions and nobody could answer them.
I
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
So in that moment when you didn't want anybody around, was it that you you just wanted to be alone, or you didn't want them to feel the impact of what you were going through in that moment?
Uh,
How were you feeling about
One
it?
of the things I came to understand was I needed me to work on me.
I see.
So I had too much depression, and
So many
I was,
things on your
yeah,
mind.
so many things that were lingering on my mind. And one thing which was outstanding is the fact that I understood what cancer is. So I knew there was no way out. I understood what treatment is, and what chemotherapy can do, and
Yes.
what the morphine can do, the radiation, all type of treatment that we have at Cancer Disease Hospital. But I knew that this would just prepare me for death.
I
So that's
see.
one thing that was outstanding, and that actually triggers depression because I knew I wasn't going anywhere apart from dying. I was quite sure about it. So I didn't want the people that I loved and people that were true to me to go through the pain that I was going through. So I wanted to have it to
To
myself.
see you in
Yes,
that state.
yes.
I see. But how did they respond to that?
Until today, I'm the most fortunate person ever lived on planet Earth.
Wow.
I had the
That's deep.
best support ever from every angle. I had streams of people that were coming to see me, and my treatment was quite different. I can brag about this. I had a different type of treatment, which we call targeted therapy, and that we had to buy it from India. So people came on board and sponsored, and then I was given treatment, and yeah. So the
Wow.
treatment that I had was quite unique and was very expensive, by the way.
Mm.
Yes.
In your story, you mentioned about a special friend.
Oh, okay.
Yes, a very special friend. And you mentioned also that you did not want her around. It's not a secret.
Um,
So, how was it for her?
I was in a state where I never wanted anybody, her inclusive, but she kept soldiering on, and she kept believing that I was gonna be okay.
Wow.
I lost weight, but she kept telling me, no, you'll be fine.
And she was still there.
She was constantly there. I
Wow.
had the greatest support, like I earlier alluded to. She's the best person I've ever met, and I don't think there'll ever be anybody like her. Because my
Definitely.
state was, if I was in, I don't think I would take it.
Mm.
I wouldn't take it. She took what, uh,
Everything in.
yes, and she was constantly there and believed that I was gonna be the person that she thought I was gonna be, and here I am.
You know, I wish she was here. I was going to ask her how it was for her to be chased, then she comes back.
Yeah,
She's chased, she comes
it was
back.
bad. Like there were
Mm,
moments where I just needed to be alone. Maybe I needed to be with my young brother or just conversate, and she'd come through. I never even wanted to see her.
I see.
Yes.
I
So, but she
see.
was constantly there. That never been a moment where I needed to seek for her or her attention. No, the attention was always available to me.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
I want to believe she must have understood what you were going through,
I don't know.
and probably she understood why you did that, why you were doing that. Yes, and we thank God for her.
Thank you.
So you mentioned that the medication was very expensive, and the church came in to support even financially. I want you to comment a bit about the role of the church in such times as this, when somebody is going through such tough moments.
I have crazy friends that tell me that you should be the guy who closes the church door, and you should be the guy that opens the church door. It's funny, but it's very true because um, I remember vividly when my auntie, one of the church members, she came to the hospital, and she was with Dr. Lishimba. I call him Professor. I like him so much. And I was lying down on that bed, and he said, "This is multiple myeloma." He's one of the best doctors we have at Cancer Disease Hospital.
Wow.
And he said, "This is multiple myeloma, but there's a type of treatment we can put him on." And she just went like, "Give us the best treatment, and we'll take care of it." I was lying
Wow.
down there, broke, no nothing, no future, and somebody just said, "We'll take care of it," and that's what happened. And they had to push. The quotation was brought forth. They pushed for the medication from India. Fortunate enough, when the drugs landed at Zamra, the person was clearing was one lady that I was in the same class with, and she pushed my drugs so fast I could access them. So. Um, the church didn't just play the financial aspect alone, but even on the spiritual aspect, which I needed the most.
Wow.
Yes. Chemotherapy is funny.
Mm.
Chemotherapy is one thing that actually deteriorates your body. You understand what I'm talking about. For coming from the pharmaceutical fraternity, you know what chemo
Yes.
can do to a person. So what I ever yearned for was cure and not treatment and management. And I knew that when we're talking about curative measures, can only come from God.
That's
And
true.
then there were many times when I was lying on that bed, and I just went like, all I need is you, and if you come through for me, I'm gonna be the best guy I can be. So you can't move me from Cancer Disease Hospital. You lie. That's home, and that's my bread. Looking at people and giving them care and
Yes.
encouragement is the best thing I can do for
I can
now.
understand.
Yes, because I understand what they're going through. I've been there and I've done that, and the same God that has given me the opportunity to see another day should come through for them. So
Mm.
it, it, it's way deeper than people look at it. When you come to Cancer Disease Hospital, I'll speak of the pediatric section. That's where you see kids that have terminal illness that you look at and you're wondering, how did this happen? And I always tell people, when you have breath, you've got life, you can do whatever you do, you can maneuver around, you should be grateful for that.
Yes, definitely.
So the church played a very important, especially on the spiritual aspect. I remember there were times when I could go to church with a cannula in my veins, and I'll just wrap it and go to church. I'll be seated here, 2 minutes I'm okay, next minute I'm in severe pain, and I would hold it back at church and still be there. Come back to the hospital. Hospital is like my home. CDH is home for me. I would stay there for 2 months. I'm just in hospital.
So
So
church was a safe space for you.
it was a place of rest for me, and still is even today.
Wow.
We shouldn't just be talking church. That's SDA. I'm
Oh,
Adventist.
okay.
Yes, I'm very
SDA church.
Adventist. Yes.
Mm. That's amazing and so touching. That's amazing. The church has a very big role
Yes,
to
it does.
play,
But that's
especially in such times. From Victor's story, we can tell that the church was fully involved, even in everything that was happening.
from inception.
Yes, at the time, and that's really amazing and commendable. And so, Victor, um, how did you maintain a positive mental attitude even in that state? Because I mentioned in my introduction to say one survivor mentioned that in as much as it is a physical battle, it is also a mental battle when you are battling with such a condition. How did you handle it at the time when you were going through it yourself?
One of the things I would say until today is I read a story of a guy who had cancer. I think I don't know what program. It should be some medical course. I don't know what it is, but it wasn't me. He said, when you fight cancer and you come out of it, you're never the same person. That's very true. I'm not the same guy that I used to be. There could be the mental aspect and the physical aspect. There are things that I fight every day. There are certain pain that I move with every day, but I'm always reminded that those that are lying cold feet, I'm not better than them. And if I look back, literally everybody who was in the world with me, they're gone. So I'm not talking about just a single word. I'm talking about maybe male ward one.
And
You've been to
they are
CDH,
gone.
all of them are gone. So I can say the entire cohort is gone and I'm still alive. So if I
Wow.
have a headache, can I complain about it? No, I can't. If I don't get a meal, can I complain about it? No, I can't. I'm so grateful for the breath of life that I have. And reverting to your question,
I'm almost
mental
getting emotional.
mental health is
Mm.
paramount. I remember a friend of mine told me this is a mental disease, and it is. So
Wow.
you guys, when you talk about mental health, you are doing a lot, a lot. In pharmacy, we believe that if somebody getting the medication, they do not believe in that medication will not do anything. So it's
Absolutely.
the aspect of the mind which I fought for a very long time. And I just don't know how I came out of depression. I was extremely depressed.
Yes.
I just never wanted anything. I At some point some people were telling me it's like I was looking forward to die, but so depression, chronic conditions are never devoid of depression. It's part and parcel because every day you pop a pill and you swallow it, you are reminded how your body is going to degenerate. But the most important aspect is to keep a positive attitude, which I have done for quite some time, and I hope to do the same.
And that helped you a lot, even in the recovery process.
Yes, yes. Cause and I keep, science tells you that cancer actually is incurable.
Mm.
Science tells you that it can come in a different version. So what I keep doing is I keep checking. I check every after 8 months. I go do my test, check if the M protein, which is responsible for multiple myeloma, is indicated or not. And most doctors are always amazed when they see that there is nothing. So I've been in
Wow.
complete remission for the past 2 years, which simply
Wow.
means no chemotherapy, no any form of treatment. But my eyes are not okay. So one eye is completely gone. I just use one, which is in a very bad state because of chemotherapy.
Because of chemotherapy.
Yes, so anyway, there's more to be happy about.
And you mentioned that even at the time the diagnosis came, it was in your final year. You went back to school, and even up until now, you get to find your place in to find yourself in a place where you have to compete with people that whose eyes are okay. How was it? I would like to know how it was like
That's the most
going back to
interesting.
school and you are struggling with your sides.
That's the most interesting
Mm,
question.
mm,
Um, when I went into remission, that was June 2019,
mm,
and July I was just October supposed to do my clinical rotations for fifth year. So when I reverted back to class, I went to see the registrar and she asked me to say, pull that file there, written 2013. And I said, I can't see it. And said, what do you mean? It's just there. It's like, madam, my eyes are pretty much damaged. She looked at me and said, but how are you going to do your school? I had no answer. And said, okay, fine. She pulled it out and got a paper from there. Said you can go with it to class. And I knew that was a yes, and I was supposed to finish my school. Just that meant I was supposed to finish my school. When I started doing my rotation, I all I did was I would tell my friends, guys, we're going to collect patients. So we're not collecting patients. Please help me out. I can't see. So I had a great support,
um,
and I made sure that I should be on top of the game. The reason why I said I should be on top of the game, there is no excuse for excellence in life.
Wow,
You should
that's deep.
never at any point say, oh, me, because of ABC, I can't do it. No, I know I can't. I've always told myself the fact that I can wake up in the morning is a clear indication that the grass outside there is green. So I just have to be the best version of me
Wow.
because of where I'm coming from. Because where I'm
You
coming
know,
from, it was hard.
mm,
I went through the pain. I went through the process of my voice could shut, my eyes couldn't open. So when I got the opportunity, I just said I just have to be that guy, and I still am. And I'm saying, I look at diseases hospital. I have to leave my name there. It doesn't matter if I can see, I can't see, I can't see, or I can see. I just have to be that guy.
and
There's
you
no
know,
excuse.
I understand your heart for cancer patients and the fact that you're actually at cancer diseases now. In that you're not just there as just any other worker giving a service, but you have experienced what those people that are there have experienced. So even your attitude and it's like pouring out your heart into the place where you feel okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. And you know, viewers, I just wanted to emphasize that you may not be battling with cancer, you may not be battling with any chronic condition, but maybe just another mental disturbance that makes you feel like you should just end your life. The principles that Victor is sharing actually apply to each and every one of us. You know, if he can say what he's saying, even with all that he's been through, then definitely somebody needs to see strength in this and have a reason to fight once more, have a reason to live again, have a reason to seek for excellence. He says he seeks for excellence in everything, despite some of the things that he's battling with, even now, you know, after recovery. And so, Victor, you work at CDH. How was it like to go back? Because it's like going back in where you the same place where you were traumatized, you know, the chemo and seeing the same walls that were there at the time when you were going through the trauma. How was it like to go back right in that place and work from there? Wasn't it traumatizing?
When I wrote my FIDE exams and
Mm.
results came while applying for internship, I made the firm decision that I should be an intern for Cancer Diseases Hospital. So when I applied at Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia, the letter came was indicating Cancer Diseases Hospital.
Wow.
So I made a personal decision I should be at Cancer Disease Hospital. And people that knew my story and people that saw me when I went there, they were quite shattered. How will I move around the world?
Yes. How will you manage?
Yes, and I told them that I want to be here, and I proved it to them that I belong here and I'll be here.
Wow.
So for me, there's no better place where I can work at. My heart is always at Cancer Disease Hospital because I strongly believe that there is a way out there as science can evolve and we can come up with better modalities of treatment, cancer patients and people that are going through a lot of ailments.
Wow.
So I always say, yeah, and I think this goes out to the interns and the students.
Mm.
Uh, when you are in a clinical setup or in a medical fraternity, your priority should never be money. We should be the most broke people. The reason why we should be broke is because I said
Uh,
it's the service that we give to people is not
mm,
ours, and the
mm,
only one who can reward us is God, and it
mm.
ends right there. So if
Wow.
you're gonna put money first, you will jeopardize what you're supposed to get at the end of it. So for medical fraternity, it's about the guy that is coming from Shangombwa, it's
Mm.
about the guy that is coming from Katete, it's about the guy that is coming from Ndola, and the guy that is broke. and it's got this terminal illness and
Yes.
needs your service to
And you
be
are
there.
there
Yes,
to give the service.
yes, yes.
I see. That's a huge part behind uh, a service such as health. And so, Victor, there's somebody that is watching, and probably they are in the same state that you were in, or maybe just another illness, probably not a physical illness, but they are struggling. I'll just like you to strengthen them and just speak to them um, concerning that which they are going through.
Okay,
Mm.
okay. One of the things that I pay attention to is I listen to a lot of motivation because we all need motivation. At the end of the
Yes,
day,
yes,
we need prayer and
yes.
we need motivation. I like a number of quotes. The first one would be, "There is no excuse for an excellent performance that meets the public pressing demand."
Wow.
So you can't say I'm
Mm-hmm.
coming from a very bad background. No,
Mm.
there's no excuse for that.
Mm.
We all have 24 hours in a day.
Hours.
So the fact that we, like I earlier said, the fact that you wake up out of that bed is a clear indication that you're supposed to touch somebody else's life. Life is a fight for territory. Once you stop fighting for that which you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. So, what is it that you want to achieve at the end of the day? Do you want to praise the condition that you have? Do you want to publish the condition that you have when you see people, oh, okay, I'm Victor and I had cancer. I'm not doing too well. My eyes are damaged. I never tell people that.
I see.
So if I can take you one on one, we can work out something. I will not tell you I have that. You just see how I'll struggle trying to read which I'm supposed to, and but you need to bear in mind that I want to do better than you. And I constantly did that. I had people that I was interning with.
Mm.
All I had in my mind, I used to say, I have to be the best version of me. Wherever I go, I always say, I have to be the best guy because there's no excuse. There's no
Mm.
excuse.
Mm.
There's literally no excuse. People talk about bad policies that we have in Africa. Yeah, to a certain degree, I can ascertain to that, but the truth is, it's a bad attitude that we have. What if we ventured into ourselves and become the better version of ourselves? We can do so much. So people that are out there is battling with so many type of conditions. The most important thing
Mm.
is adhere to the medication. I can
Yeah.
talk about HIV.
Yes,
So
yes,
you know you're HIV positive. What are you supposed to do? Pop a pill every day. At what
yes.
time? Whenever you have a problem, get to the hospital. Find out what is it that is going on. It's your health. I don't anticipate a doctor to tell me what I ought to do when it's about me. I should be the lead because
Mm.
it's about me. So I'm speaking to the people out there and I'm telling them that the best you can do for you is be the best version for yourself. I just want to be the best guy.
Mm.
I don't know if I'll be there tomorrow. If I won't be there tomorrow, what legacy am I leaving behind? What will people talk about when my name has been brought forth? So I think that should be the same thing. How I want, it's not about how I want to be remembered, it's about how I should never be forgotten.
Wow.
If I have an interaction with you, it's about how you should. Oh, Victor, okay, how you.
Mm.
It's Rachel. Oh, that Rachel you're talking about, she's
Mm.
how you should never be forgotten in people's lives. And
Mm.
that should be the same affirmation that people should hold, regardless of the circumstances that they are going through. There's
Mm.
somebody out there who's going through something greater than what you're going through.
There's one quote by you
Sure, sure.
which says, "The will to live should be greater than the adversity." I got it right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Just talk about that.
Uh, uh, the reason why I love that quote is when you wake up in the morning, there'll be there'll be strange forces that will pull you
Yes.
down.
Mm.
It's either you are coming out of adversity and headed into one, or there'll be some await on the door. So your ability, your enthusiasm to be the better version of yourself should be tripled for you to counteract to anything that is going to be exposed to you. So the will to live should be greater than the
Than the
adversity, because the adversity will always be there.
Battles will always be there. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. If you are not encouraged by this, then I don't know what else should look like an encouragement to you. But personally, I see so much strength in Victor's story, and I'm so I'm so encouraged and impacted by this story. And so, Victor, your last words.
Very simple.
Mm,
Be the best version of yourself.
wow. In whatever you do, whichever area, Victor says, be the best of yourself. Victor, thank you so much
I'm
for
delighted to be here.
making time to be here.
Thank you
It
very
wasn't
much.
easy to get Victor on set because he's very busy with programs, cancer programs. They are busy working at CDH, giving his services and pouring out his heart to the people that are going through what he went through. And so we are so grateful that you found time to be here. I hope you have been encouraged and strengthened by this story. Thank you so much for joining us. From me and the rest of us, it's bye bye.
Hi, I hope you loved that video. So join us every Thursday at 16 hours right here at Unza TV Ridgeway Campus, where we get to discuss a whole lot of topics concerning mental health. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe on our Facebook page.